Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for our Monday Healing Step session here in the Bridge to Healing community. Now, if you're new or watching for the first time, I'm Janine Naus, your grief and trauma relief specialist. I support trauma survivors in reconnecting with their inner truth, releasing what no longer serves them, and reclaiming peace that belongs to them. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and type pound replay in the comments. And if you're joining me live, say hello and type pound live. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. So today we're talking about something that often hides in plain sight, something that so many trauma survivors quietly carry: the suppression of emotions. You may look like you're holding it together, managing all the tasks, showing up for others, but inside there's a grief, anger, fear, or heartbreak that hasn't had a safe place to land. And this kind of silence isn't laziness, weakness, or avoidance. It's a pattern built from survival. And in this conversation, we're going to gently unravel that pattern together. We'll explore three truths today that may feel unfamiliar to your heart. Each one is an invitation to gently reconnect with the parts of you that learned how to survive when healing didn't yet feel possible. And I'll share a story from my own life that helped me see how emotional suppression, something I thought made me strong, was quietly keeping me from the freedom I long for. So let's begin with the root of suppression, where it often starts and why it's not your fault. For many trauma survivors, emotional suppression wasn't something we chose. It was something we had to do to survive. And you may have grown up in a home where emotions were ignored, dismissed, or even punished. Maybe expressing your sadness brought silence. Maybe anger earned you rejection. Or maybe your caretakers were too overwhelmed or unavailable to hold space for what you felt. So your body, your mind, your spirit did the only thing they could do to protect you. You learned to suppress, to shut down, to hold it in, to wear a smile when your heart ached inside. It's not that you were weak, you were wise. Your system knew how to keep you functioning in an environment that didn't honor your feelings. And it worked until it didn't. Because here's the tender truth: what kept you safe back then can quietly become what keeps you stuck now. When emotions are pushed down for too long, they don't just disappear, they begin to separate you from yourself, from your joy, from the intimacy you crave, from the clarity that comes when you truly know what you feel and what you need. It's a protective pattern, yes, but it can also create a barrier, a numbness that disconnects you not just from pain, but from possibility. So let's slow down for a moment and bring awareness to your own experience. Have you ever felt emotionally flat, like something was off, but you couldn't quite name what you were feeling? Have you told yourself you were fine when deep down something felt missing or even frozen? That feeling, it's not failure. It's a sign your body has been doing what it was trained to do: protect you from overwhelm. Now, if that resonates, you can drop a yes in the comments or even just share one word for what that experience has felt like for you. Just no pressure. This is your space, your pace. If you're noticing this right now, I want to honor that, because noticing is no small thing here. Awareness isn't passive, it's powerful. It's your nervous system that's whispering, I'm ready to feel safe enough to feel again. And now that this awareness is opening, let's look at what happens when those suppressed emotions stay hidden for too long and how they begin to show up in ways we don't always expect. When emotions are suppressed, they don't simply vanish, they find new ways to be seen, heard, or expressed. Now, they may surface as chronic tension in your body, as headaches and tightness in your chest, or a sense of fatigue that no amount of sleep seems to fix, or they show up as anxiety that seems to come out of nowhere, especially in moments of stillness. Sometimes they disguise themselves as emotional detachment. You might feel disconnected from joy, uncertain about what you want, or indifferent to things that used to matter. You may wonder, why can't I feel excited about anything anymore? That emotional flatness isn't apathy, it's your system protecting you from feeling too much. And over time, the longer emotions go unfelt, the louder the body begins to speak, not out of betrayal, but out of deep loyalty. Your body remembers what your mind tried to forget, and it carries it for you until you're ready to listen. So if you've ever had an emotional outburst that felt out of character or found yourself shut down when you wanted to engage, know this: it's not random. It's the pressure of unspoken pain finally reaching the surface. Even things like procrastination, people pleasing, or overachievement can be forms of emotional avoidance, ways that we try to feel that we're in control when inside we're carrying on so much. And often this internal chaos leads to shame. And we think, I should be over this by now. Or why can't I just move on? But what we're really facing isn't a lack of strength, it's an absence of emotional safety. You're not broken. You're responding exactly how someone responds when they've been taught to survive without support. And once you begin to notice the signals your body and emotions are sending, you can start responding with curiosity instead of criticism. You can begin shifting from self protection to self compassion, from survival to healing. And I want to share a personal story with you now. A moment in my own journey where I first began to understand just how much I was carrying underneath the surface. I spent a long time appearing fine. I was dependable, productive, strong. People saw someone who could handle anything. But what they couldn't see was the pressure I felt to hold it all together. What they didn't know was that I was carrying pain so tightly wrapped in silence, I almost forgot it was there. There was a period in my life where I was pushing through every day, working long hours, saying yes when I meant to say no, showing up for everyone else but myself. I didn't cry. I didn't rest. I didn't slow down. I kept going because I believed that if I stopped, I might fall apart. And I didn't feel like I had permission to do that. And then one day I sat at my desk and I realized I couldn't concentrate. My chest was tight, my head hurt, my thoughts were scattered, but still I told myself, you're fine, just push through it. That's when a trusted friend gently asked, when was the last time you let yourself feel what you've been carrying? And I didn't have the answer. I had no idea how long I'd been numb. I only knew I couldn't remember the last time I felt safe enough to truly feel. And that moment cracked something open in me. It didn't lead to a dramatic breakdown or instant clarity, but it planted a seed. It invited me to pause, to notice, to listen inwardly for the first time in a long time. And I began to realize that the exhaustion, the irritability, the disconnection, those weren't just personality quirks or random mood swings. They were messages, signals from my body and heart asking for care. That's when my healing truly began. Not when I fixed everything, but when I stopped ignoring myself, when I stopped trying to be fine. I began to make space for my emotions, not all at once, but gently. I stopped judging my grief. I started allowing my anger. I even let myself cry without needing a reason. And in those small, quiet moments, I began to feel like me again. Not the version of me that the world expected, but the version I had buried to survive, the one who was always there, waiting to be welcomed home. Now, I want to share a gentle practice that helped me begin that process of reconnecting with my emotional self, especially when I didn't know where to begin. When you've spent years, maybe even decades, holding everything in, it can feel overwhelming to think about feeling your feelings. You might not even know where to start, and that's okay. We're not trying to open the floodgates. We're simply offering your body and heart a small space to speak, a space that's safe, quiet, and kind. This is a simple practice you can do anytime, especially when you notice yourself feeling disconnected, overwhelmed, or unsure of what you're feeling at all. I call it a simple emotion noticing practice. So here's how it works. One, find a quiet space. It could be your bedroom, your car, or even the bathroom if that's the only space you have. And then two, sit comfortably and place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Then three, take three slow, gentle breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And let your shoulders drop. Let your body soften. Then four, ask yourself gently, what am I feeling right now? And then five, wait and listen. You don't need to force anything. If all you feel is numbness, that's valid. You can say, I feel numb. If a wave of sadness, anger, or even relief comes up, just notice it. And then six, whisper to yourself, it's okay to feel this. I'm safe enough to feel this right now. This practice might feel unfamiliar or even awkward at first. Now that's normal. You may only sit with yourself for a minute or two, and that's enough. Each time you practice, you're sending a new message to your nervous system. It's okay to be here. It's okay to feel. You're not doing this to fix yourself. You're doing this to welcome yourself back, because the parts of you that are hurting don't need judgment. They need your presence. And over time, the small act of presence builds trust with yourself. It opens the door to deeper clarity, emotional release, and peace. Your healing doesn't require rushing. It begins with moments like this. So let's carry that energy into our journaling practice so you can continue this connection beyond today. Now that we've explored how to gently tune into what you're feeling, I want to invite you to take this awareness one step deeper and with a journaling prompt that can help you uncover what's been waiting to be seen. See, sometimes the simple act of putting words on a page becomes a sacred space for truth to rise. Writing doesn't need to be polished or perfect. It just needs to be honest. This is about creating room for what's real for you, without pressure, without performance. Here's your journaling prompt for today. What emotion have I been avoiding or suppressing, and what might it need from me right now? Now, let me repeat that in case you'd like to write it down. What emotion have I been avoiding or suppressing, and what might it need from me right now? You might notice resistance. You might notice clarity. You might not even have a name for the emotion, just a color or an image or a sensation in your body. And that counts. Whatever surfaces, let it rise with compassion. There are no wrong answers here. You're not trying to figure anything out. You're simply making space for what's been silenced. You can write a single sentence or a few pages. You can draw, scribble, sit with the question in silence, or speak your answer out loud. This is your healing space. Let it look however it needs to. And if you feel like you're not ready to answer the question right away, that's okay too. Sometimes just asking the question is the breakthrough. The body hears it, the heart hears it, and that gentle opening is enough to begin. So let this journaling be a moment of reconnection, a way of saying to yourself, I'm here now, I'm listening, and you matter. When you're ready, let's move into our closing. Okay? In this closing, I'll share how we can go even deeper together. So as we close today's session, I want to remind you of something essential. You're not too much. You are not behind. You are not broken for having emotions that have been buried or hard to feel. The truth is, what you learned to suppress once helped you survive, but now you're stepping into a new chapter, one that allows for healing, softness, and truth. And you don't have to do it alone. If today's conversation stirred something in you, if you found yourself thinking, this is me, or I want to go deeper, but I don't know how, then I want to personally invite you to schedule a free 30-minute healing clarity session with me. Now, this is a private, heart-centered call where we gently explore one area of your life where you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or uncertain. And together we'll bring compassionate awareness to what you've been holding in and discover a small but powerful step you can take toward healing. Now, there's no pressure, no expectations, just space for you to be seen, heard, and supported exactly as you are. You've carried so much. You've done the best you could with what you had, and now healing is possible in ways that are grounded, gentle, and real. So if you're feeling called to go deeper, I invite you to click the link in the description or the comments to schedule your healing clarity session with me. It would be an honor to walk alongside you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for allowing yourself to explore what healing might look like, even if it's just one step at a time. Until next time, have a wonderful day.